The Sonic racing game teased back in March has now officially been announced, thanks Walmart. It's called Team Sonic Racing, and it appears to be developed by Sumo Digital, the team that made past Sonic racing games Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing and Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed. There are plenty of videos out there already analyzing the trailer for this game, but what I want to look at is the trailer's music. I know what you're all thinking. Is Crush 40 back? This question is asked every time a new Sonic game is revealed, and every single time for the past decade, the answer has been no. It's not usually hard to tell. Come on, you really thought Fist Bump was Jun Sonoe's work? This time, as somebody who's obsessively studied Crush 40's music for years, I can tell you the answer is a definite maybe. I can't say for sure, but this time, it's actually possible. And there's more to it than that, which will really interest you if you're a Crush 40 fan. First, let me get a few possible objections out of the way. Is it just a trailer song? Unlikely. There's a good chance we're actually hearing the main theme of the game. We only got to hear an introduction. It fades out quickly, and it was clearly building up to something. There has to be more to it than what we heard in the trailer. Is it Call Me Crazy? Call Me Crazy is a new Crush 40 song that premiered at the Japan Game Music Festival back in January this year. It's almost certain that this is not that song. They wouldn't have any reason to premiere it before the game's announcement, and according to June, Call Me Crazy begins with a keyboard part, and this song does not. Also, I want to address the question, will we get a Crush 40 soundtrack? Richard Jocks did the soundtracks to the two All-Stars Racing games, as well as Sonic R. Frankly, I doubt a full Crush 40 soundtrack for this game, and I expect Jocks to return. Don't get me wrong, I love Richard Jocks, but I think the best we can hope for here is a main theme from Crush 40. So what about the main theme being Crush 40? There is some evidence in support of this theory, and a bit of evidence against it. I'll go over the reasons in support of it first. Number 1, the guitars sound like Jun Sonoe. If you're familiar with his style, this should be fairly clear. Number 2, the chord progression is one that Jun uses all the time. While Jun has never used this progression verbatim in a Crush 40 song before, there are 5 Crush 40 songs in which he's used a progression that is, for all intents and purposes, virtually identical. Curiously enough, all of the examples here, save Never Turn Back, are in the intro of the song.
It's been a long, rough road, and I'm finally here. I'm moving an inch forward, it feels like a year. Lately, this reborn, missing my people.
Number 3, speaking of which, the intro here is broken into 2 parts. One which introduces the hook, which is a melody or riff made to be instantly recognizable, and another being a development of or a continuation from that hook. This is how over half of all Crush 40 songs start. Number 4, this is the biggest one. Aaron Weber, the social media manager for all things Sonic, tweeted, "About that song you heard." He has no reason to tease the importance of the music as far as I can tell, unless it's a remix of a past song or done by someone notable. It doesn't sound like a remix of anything I'm aware of, and I'm already sure the guitars are Jun. And Aaron knows full well how much the community wants a Crush 40 song in a Sonic game. So what about the evidence against it being Crush 40? Number 1, Jun's guitars are very clean for being a Crush 40 song that's not a ballad. Although his tone has been getting cleaner over the years, it could be a natural evolution of his style, and it's not like odd songs like this have never existed. Sonic Heroes is an example. Number 2, it's in standard tuning. Jun hasn't done a standard tuned Crush 40 song since Live Life from 2009, and that's an exception. Jun's been tuning his guitars lower for Crush 40 music since Shadow the Hedgehog way back in 2005. It's a little surprising he'd tune back up. Maybe he's using his new 7-string guitar, I've heard no low notes yet. Number 3, the drums. They don't sound like Toru Kawamura or Katsuji to me. There's too much body in the drums to be either. It could be Actrivia, who's worked with Jun very often since 2014. If so, this would be Act's first appearance on a Crush 40 song, and if that's the case, I certainly welcome it. You might think that these are very weak arguments against it being Crush 40, and I agree. It sure sounds different from the Crush 40 I'm used to. But here is where things get interesting. For the past few months, I've been studying Crush 40's discography as a whole to learn what qualities define it and how they've evolved over time. In my studies, I've identified what I consider to be 3 distinct eras of Crush 40 music. Era number 1, or the Sons of Angels era, lasted from 1998 to 2005. This era is defined by bright, fast-paced songs with tight rhythms and relatively complicated guitar arrangements. This is also the era that had nearly all of their major key works. Nearly every song they've written since has been in a minor key. Era number 2 lasted from 2005 to 2010. This era is defined by a sudden increase in the heaviness of their music. Jun began to tune lower and the arrangements became simpler. Over time, their drummers also tuned lower. This is also the era where all of their cover songs are. Era number 3, or the modern era, has been in place since 2011. Crush 40's music during this era has been much rougher and more raw sounding, with cleaner guitars and a more earthy sound overall. This is the mellowest Crush 40 has ever been. In fact, the average tempo of their music has dropped by exactly 15 beats per minute for each of these eras. Something you may notice about these eras is the amount of time each has lasted. Era 1 lasted for about 7 years, Era 2 for about 5, Era 3 has lasted for 7 years so far. I was talking to a friend about my findings, and I predicted that this year could be the beginning of a new era for Crush 40. If that's so, maybe Team Sonic Racing is the start of it.